All right, this is the second take, all because of you, Phil. This is Steli After with Close.io. Let's talk about sales scripts. Sales scripts or no sales scripts? It seems to be a religious question in sales, been debated for centuries. Some people believe in scripts, others don't. I think both of them are idiots because I don't think it's a question of belief. Let's really go through this real quick. Let's look at the cons of a sales script. Why do people hate it? Why are some people really, really against it, right? Well, first of all, people are afraid of sounding like robots. They're afraid of people reciting lines or reading, even worse, reading out a sales script while on the phone with somebody. And we all know why that sucks, right? There's no way for you to build a connection, rapport, and really to be able to make others resonate to your message if you sound like you're reading from a script. The next thing is, a dirty word in sales: documentation. People hate sales scripts because at the end of the day, it's documentation. You have to sit down and write something out, right? And even worse, you have to think it through and edit it and approve it and have other people look at it and criticize it. It just seems like a lot of work, and salespeople hate that kind of work, administrative work of documentation. The other reason why people really hate sales scripts is because they're afraid that salespeople will listen less when there is a sales script, because they'd be focused more on what they are saying and the script than on actually what the other party is telling them. And that, a lot of times people think that it's going to be a recruiting challenge, like hiring amazing salespeople is going to be harder when you have a sales script than when you don't, because they're going to be like, great salespeople are just creative geniuses. They will hate this thing. They will not want to look at a script. It's going to make us look clown town and like we're not really like an amazing sales force. So hence why people really, really dislike it. And then last but not least, people hate sales scripts because they know they'll have to manage and maintain it. Once you have a sales script, you're not really done. You'll have to update it once your product or service or company changes, once the market changes, once you discover that certain things work or don't work. So you constantly have to go back and revisit and re-edit and update it and have different versions of it. It just seems like a lot of work. Why not just train people in being amazing at sales, teaching them and educating them and training them on the product, and then just letting them do their thing, right? And just be awesome salespeople. It sounds like a much easier path to success. Let's look at the pros. Why are sales scripts awesome? Well, first and foremost, sales scripts, because you have to write them down, they force you to think things through. They actually force you to create them and design them with a purpose in mind. And a lot of times, if you even just going through that exercise, even if you never really use that sales script, will teach you a lot about what works and what doesn't, how you actually structure the conversation, and what about it is good or broken. The other thing is that, it's going to allow you and your sales team, if you have a sales script, to funnel back success stories and best practices and new creative ideas into the core sales script and let everybody in the sales team benefit from it. So what I mean by that is that if one salesperson tries something new or creative to manage an objection or to make an intro or to elevator pitch the product, and they see that people resonate with it really strongly and better than with the pitch they used before, if they do it a couple of times consistently, you could funnel that learning, that new creative way to pitch your product back and let the entire team win and benefit from it versus just one creative genius sales guy. So it's going to make the entire sales team better whenever something works. It's going to actually kill what I call bad day performances. So sales is very much a performance play. Doesn't matter how great you are in it. Doesn't matter what you just did in the last sales meeting or sales call. When you pick up the phone, when you go into a meeting, the score says 0 and you have to perform. It's very similar to sports in that way. It doesn't matter if you're Michael Jordan at your prime, you're not starting games with like a 30-point advantage. You start at 0 and you have to perform again today. I can't live in the past. It's the same thing with sales, and because of that, sales is going to be, very much dependent on the individual performance and state of your sales reps. So if a sales rep has an amazing day, they're going to be creative, they're going to be energetic, they're going to be influential, and going to perform really well. But when they have a shitty day and they feel like shit and they feel depressed and feel down and have kind of lack of confidence, that's going to reflect in their performance and results. Having a sales script will elevate their game to a certain standard no matter what. So when they have great days, they can perform better than the script. But when they have really shitty days, they have something to hold on to and they can still perform at a certain level versus, being completely binary and completely fluctuating in the way that they do their sales calls because they always freestyle it. So having a sales script will actually create a certain standard for everybody in the organization, and you'll avoid having really bad, out of this world performances from specific sales individuals. It's going to help you to actually train, manage, and scale your sales team, right? You can't just hire individual artists. A sales team is much more like a sports team or a special army force troop versus like a creative circus or something. Like, you can't just hire all these individualists that just do their own thing and kind of create results out of nothing. You'll have to train people, onboard people. If you have a script, it's going to allow you to train, onboard people faster. It's going to allow you to benchmark people better and scale your sales force and sales results a lot faster and easier. And then last but not least, I believe, to contradict the contra from before, that if people have a good sales script, they're actually going to be able to be better listeners, because they don't have to compute the answers on the fly all the time. They don't have to come up with ways to respond or answer to things, because they have some kind of a structure and some kind of a design that they can hold on to. They're going to be better listeners and going to be freed up in mental capacity to actually pay more attention to what the other party is telling them. So what should you do? Should you go with the pros, the cons? Should you do sales scripts or shouldn't you? I think you want to do both. I'm a firm believer of having scripted your entire sales process and then giving your people the freedom to perform better than that, giving them the room to actually do better and be creative about it, but be able to come back and hold on to it if they need it. So the way that I do this is that I would teach my team, and we teach sales teams in a way where we teach them to design a script and re-edit it and kind of check back on it. Every 2 to 3 weeks, you'll have a team meeting where people actually look at the script and they make edits and they make improvements and they debate it as a sales team. We'll train people to really learn it by heart and know the script by heart and build what I call muscle memory. Just like a sports team will daily train every single day, maybe 5-6 days a week, and then just have one game a week, but they'll train for 6 days and they'll train the same routines, the same place until it becomes muscle memory. They don't go on the field and only know how to perform a certain sequence of plays. They know how to be creative. They know how to respond to the game, to the dynamic, to the opponent, but they've built muscle memory, and certain plays just flow, and a certain standard is set for the entire team. And sales scripts can accomplish the same thing for your sales team. You want to train them until it becomes sales muscle memory, and then allow them to utilize the entire creative force and deviate from it. They don't have to recite it word by word. They can use their own words, their own language. They can deviate from it a little bit, but you created a structure that creates kind of a checkpoint and a designed flow of a conversation that gives your salespeople control. Here's an interesting little insight. You guys might have seen the movie The Wolf of Wall Street. That guy, the Wolf, he was creating sales scripts, and what he was calling them was the straight line sales system. And why he called it that way is because he created a sales script that was basically creating a straight line from the hello on the call to the close. And there were checkpoints in the straight line. First time somebody told you, fuck you, I want to hang up. Second time they told you no. Third time they told you something. And for every checkpoint, there was a response and a way to get people back onto the line and back on the core conversation, and it empowered his salespeople, although they were really young, inexperienced, and uneducated, to sell millions and millions of dollars of deals in penny stock that nobody had ever heard of to top-level CEOs because they were in control of the conversation. They had a mental map of a straight line. They knew the checkpoints. And no matter what the other person did, they were able to bring them back on the line and move them forward in the call until they actually closed them. So having a script will give you guys and your salespeople real clarity and control over the conversation and allow you to actually perform better, no matter if the day is good, no matter if the day is bad, no matter how you do. And if you do it right and you don't actually focus on reciting or reading, but actually you learn it by heart, you train it, you coach people, and then you allow them to be better than it and to deviate from it and use their own language, but follow the basic structure, it's going to make your sales team an incredible team, allow them to perform a lot better, and at the end of the day, close more deals and make more sales.